With another year on the books, I wanted to step back and start my year off slowly this time. 2024 was an introspective year for me. Through reflection, I found growth and understanding of who I am and what I'm capable of. So I wanted to start this first video off kind of light. But before we get started, a cup of coffee. I really love these blue bottle coffee beans that I picked up about a month ago. I've been trying to drink more of my coffee black lately, and even though I'm sure it's still ruining my palate, I still get those subtle flavors of chocolate and brown sugar with this bean. But right, back to my intentions for the new year. It is so good to be back. Happy New Year's to y'all. This is gonna be a lighter video. I just wanna really talk about my intentions for the new year and really just get started on the right foot. My New Year's really started today. I went ahead, took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, except for making this video right here, because I felt like I just didn't really want to jump right into the swing of things. I mean, I've been there, done that, like New Year for most of our adult lives. We think that January 1st is going to be this like magical cutoff point where everything's going to change. And for some of us, that might actually be the truth. But for me this year, I felt like I ended the year very strongly. I know what my habits are. I know what I want to improve on, what I have improved on. And so I just wanted to give my body, myself a break. I was just at peace. Let's just say that. I was at peace. And so today, this video is for you as much as it is for me to come back a year from now and be like, hey, how am I don't want to say New Year's resolutions, but those pillars that I want to install into my life moving forward, where are we with that? And so I really just wanted to reflect, Skylar and I, we got a hotel room, we mood boarded, we popped some Ace, and we really just sat on our phones for like a good hour from January 1st to December 31st and went over the year itself. What did we see that was successful? The triumphs, the low points, our first Essence magazine shoot, me getting malaria and almost hitting the bucket, unfortunately having to put my grandmother to rest, being on a billboard in New York, Times Square, just all of that stuff, big accomplishments, and it's been amazing. I thank God so much. And after such a successful year, I'm not here trying to break records or anything. I just want to provide for my family and continue to be the best individual that I can be. And there are a few things that are going to come with that. And so my number one thing for this year that I want to, focus on is consistency. I want to be consistent in everything that I have planned, whether it's the gym, whether it's vlogging, whether it's picking up a camera and making some content, when it's reading, journaling, all of that. I just want to be consistent. I don't want to have a 12-proof plan of how to get to here or there. I know what I need to do at this point, and through my consistency, habits will form. It's just all about, getting up and doing it. It's not reaching for my phone as soon as I get out the bed. It's reaching for my gym shorts and heading over to the gym. It's calling my mom on the way to the gym. I just know that through this consistency, everything else that I want to achieve will be born from it. And what's gonna help me the most as I really start to move towards this era of consistency in my life is Notion. I know people might think it's cringe to share a calendar with your significant other, but I'm sorry. Skylar and I are way too busy to not know you have partnerships, you have friend dates, you have, dates with each other. It's way too busy not to be able to actively track all of that. So Notion will definitely be my go-to tool in order to just keeping up to date with what do I have planned in May. We got friends' weddings, we have cohort classes to go to, we have life to enjoy. So all of that will be tracked into Notion. Another thing I'm bringing back this year is this thing, my Kindle. We're bringing reading back. I think last year to start the year, Sarah J. Maas had dropped the final Crescent City book. I'm a big fantasy book fan, if you don't already know. I've always loved fantasy, the worlds apart, the worlds it takes you to, all of that good stuff, but this is about to be my best friend. My goal is to read at least a book a month. So just really hopping in, instead of having my phone, having my Kindle when I'm on the train, just pulling this out, catching up on whatever book it might be. Right now, that book is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I was on Book Talk a while ago and it continuously kept coming up. And so I was like, yeah, let me give it a try. Now, the hard part is gonna be reading some self-help books. I would like to sprinkle that in. So like have one fiction, one nonfiction book as the years go by, but dog, those nonfiction books, it's hell for me. Like, it's just so tough to read and I really have to focus and get through it. So I'm gonna give myself 3 months of like just really getting back into my nonfiction bag. Man, y'all don't know, I was a reader. Like, for those of you who grew up in Georgia, we had this thing called Accelerated Reader. Every year I was top of my class, and I'm not even talking like African parent top. I'm talking about number one, number one, number one, number one, 5 years in a row. Like, I stayed in the library, and that was without reading Harry Potter, because I mean, to me, those were cheats. And then also shout out to Tom Ford for this journal. My plan is to journal at least 3 times a week throughout this year. I started journaling a couple years ago, and I usually maybe get like a quarter of the way throughout the year. We'll see if we can get the whole year this time. But it's just a nice little therapeutic way to jot down my thoughts, also rewind the day and really be like, hey, you know, I really appreciated this moment, or this moment bothered me a bit. You know, I'll talk about this more at another date. And just reflect on the good, the bad, but really check in with myself in a way that maybe I can't check in with others. So journaling will be a huge part of this year for me. And we're gonna stay consistent. Number one key, consistent. The next big key for me is community. So when I first started this page, I was like, I just know so many dope people in my life that people from all over the states, let alone the world, might never meet. So I wanted to give people an opportunity, you know, not necessarily to tell their life story, but just reflect and have a conversation. So since I started this vlog, you know, I've been sprinkling that in here and there. And not only has it been a great opportunity for my friends and family to check in, you know, and tell their story, but it's been an opportunity for me to like, hey, ask them questions or learn things that I've never learned about them before. So moving forward, I will continue to do those, let's call it like mini podcast interviews within my videos, just to allow people to kind of introduce themselves to a broader audience, which I think is pretty cool. But on top of that, like when I'm headed to the gym in the morning, my goal is to like just call up a friend. I'm a notoriously bad texter, DMer. I mean, like, it'll take me a month sometimes to get back to people. And at that point, it's like, you know, what's the point? So my goal is not only to like try to respond to a text message within 2 days, but if I'm not responding to a text message and just like on the way to the gym, calling a random friend up just for a little 15-minute check-in, like, hey, how you doing? How you living? Has everything been good? You know, you need any help with anything? Or just like really shoot the shit, like just talking, catching up. All right, and now so for health, there's a few things that I do want to do when it comes to, okay, actually, he needs to go out. One sec. Health is gonna be huge for me this year. I've started hitting maxes, been eating better, hitting the gym 4 times a week, taking long walks, but I don't have like the whole writing down in my journal health goals. My biggest thing for health is I just want to make sure that I'm making the best decisions I can for my body, like drinking less, all that good stuff. And then finally, finances and travel. Those go hand in hand for me. I love to travel. I've been traveling really for the better part of like 7 or 8 years now. I think my first location was to Colombia. And once I really got out of the country, I mean, no, first I went to Nigeria when I was younger, but like an adult travel, you know, no parents, nothing, just with your friends. Once I really got out the country and I had that freedom, I was like, oh yeah, like to really go other places and immerse yourself in their culture. I did that a lot when I first started traveling. But yeah, just continuing to travel this year, but winding it back. To really focus in on my community, I feel like I do need to be home more. I do need to be present. So if it's not a brand affiliated event or trip, then I'm really limiting myself to 3 international locations this year. I'm thinking Australia, Japan, and I'll leave the other one up. Who knows, maybe Dedi December. do a little quick Nigeria to South Africa trip. Still haven't been to Joburg. That'd be cool. But we'll see on that end. But just really kind of pushing back on the travel and making sure that when I do travel, it's to somewhere that I really love. Shout out to Japan. That'll be my 4th trip there. And then Australia, which, you know, I see the horror stories online with all the bugs, spiders the size of dogs, which is crazy. Hopefully I don't see none of that. But I've also seen the beauty of it and like really the naturescape. It's like a big Hawaii almost to me. So I can't wait to check that out. But also with finances, I want to continue to maximize my Roth IRA. I want to invest $1,000 a month into my separate accounts. I want to pay off about half of my student loans. So I graduated from Georgia State and then I got my MBA from NYU. My student loans were cool after Georgia State, but once that NYU check hit, sheesh, that was tough. Yeah, that one hit me hard. So I want to pay off half of my student loans. And then I got some other things planned that I would like to do with my cash that I would tell you at a later date, hopefully sooner rather than later. But life has been good. I think I'm finally getting to the point where a lot of things are in the right bucket that they need to be, which allows for me to express myself better, to have more creativity, more conversations with the people that I love, you know, less downtime, more uptime emotionally. And I'm loving that for myself. And so consistency. I'm hoping that through consistency throughout this whole year that I'll be able to continue to grow as an individual, as a professional, and most importantly, as a creative.